Yes, our second speaker is Margaret McQuiston.
Good afternoon, Ms. McQuiston.
Hi there, you can hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. So thank you for this opportunity to address the commission, and thank you, Chair Croft, for your opening remarks, where you stated your commitment to Indigenous reconciliation and you honored those children who did not come home from school. It has been a challenging couple of weeks for many of us. Well, my name is Margaret McQuiston. I'm a member of the Calgary Alliance for the Common Good, and I sit on its Truth and Reconciliation Research Action Team. As my colleague Marcia Epstein mentioned in a recent meeting of the Commission, we are trying to improve the relationship which the Calgary Police Service has with Indigenous people in the city by advocating for the CPS to resource an Indigenous liaison officer in each district. We believe that more Indigenous liaison officers will lower crime rates and save lives. Currently, there is only one such liaison officer for this entire city of 1.5 million. Before I continue, I would like to thank the Calgary Police Service for reaching out to us following the Commission's last meeting. As a result, a meeting has been scheduled for tomorrow, so that's Wednesday, July 30th at 1:30. With us and Deputy Chief Katie McClellan and Police Superintendent Asif Rashid. This is a step forward. Thank you very much. The Calgary Alliance has been advocating for more Indigenous liaison officers for over a year now. At our fall assembly in October 2020, the Calgary Police Service was in attendance and it agreed to increase the number of Indigenous liaison officers. We were elated to hear this. And after the meeting, we responded quickly when the CPS asked the Calgary Alliance to prepare a job description for what we thought should be included in the role of an Indigenous liaison officer. We did that, but not long after we were told that the CPS was not ready and that the officers would not be hired. So now we are frustrated. We have been seeking answers as to why this decision was made and are hoping to learn more at our meeting tomorrow. And I will note the remarks which the Deputy Chief made earlier in this meeting about the advice from their Indigenous Advisory Committee regarding liaison officers, and we will follow up with her more tomorrow. Something has to be done within the CPS to improve the situation. The system is broken at the expense of the lives of Indigenous Calgarians. Indigenous people in our city are over-policed and underprotected. They are dying and being incarcerated at an alarming rate. The CPS needs to urgently address this problem by developing better cultural competencies, by understanding and fixing the impacts of colonization, and by building better relationships with Indigenous communities. This is all in line with the city's commitment towards anti-racism. The National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls offered some solutions to this policing problem. They are laid out in Calls to Justice numbers 9.1 through 9.11. Specifically in 9.4, they call for exactly what the Alliance has been requesting: to establish a specialized Indigenous policing unit within policing services where they will lead efforts in community liaison work, community relationship building, and community crime prevention programs within and for Indigenous communities. In the job description that we provided the CPS for an Indigenous liaison unit, we focused on relationship building as a means to address the serious situation. We believe that such a unit could lead to an effective effort in anti-racism towards Indigenous people. They would do this by supporting CPS officers during their interactions with Indigenous people, by leading training within the CPS on Indigenous ways, and by advocating for Indigenous people within the CPS and creating a learning environment within the CPS on Indigenous matters. The current Indigenous Liaison Officer is doing some of this work and must be commended for his remarkable efforts. He has been able to build trust with those Indigenous people he encounters, but he is only one, and he is working on his own within the city with such a large Indigenous population. So in closing, I would like to ask the Commission to consider the following. Since we know that Indigenous people are over-policed and underprotected in this city, that there is a dire need for the CPS to build trust with Indigenous people to lower crime rates and save lives, that the city, including CPS, has committed to dedicating resources to anti-racism, equity, diversity, and inclusion work, as we have heard about today, and that resourcing an Indigenous liaison unit could be a significant first step in resolving this problem. So we implore the Commission to encourage the CPS to respond to the recommendation of the Indigenous Advisory Board that we heard about earlier in this meeting, and put the systems in place so that the CPS is ready to welcome Indigenous liaison officers into the service. We also ask you to continue to put pressure on the CPS to fulfill its commitment to anti-racism towards Indigenous people, and to see that any efforts to address this serious situation be implemented as soon as possible. So thank you for allowing me to share the views of the Calgary Alliance for the Common Good and for your attention to this important matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much for attending our meeting today and for providing us with your comments and your input. And on behalf of the Commission, I thank you for that input. And I'm happy to hear that you are having a meeting tomorrow, and I have no doubt that CPS will appreciate your insights and that of your organization in that meeting. And all of Commission will look forward to the outcome, not just of that meeting, but all of the continuing work on this very important issue that you are so dedicated to. So we look forward to the continued work of the Anti-Racism Committee, and particularly with respect to relations with Indigenous members of the citizens of this city.